And welcome back. Let's take a look at what we've got in our project schedule. No developments yet, by the way, on the Game Jam, except for that it will be taking place this week, 5/17, week 14, way over here. We haven't had any additional details revealed about that just yet, just that it's going to happen, and it's going to involve Riverside Community College and a high school in that area as well. So I'll let you know when anything else develops, but for now, just hold tight. All right, let's take a look down this column. We've got Alan, and if it's some of the stuff we saw last week, then maybe I'll skip over it. I want to make sure that we're looking at all new stuff. Maze Tower. Wow, that sounds cool. All right. Reach the end of the maze, movement WASD, touch corresponding buttons to remove obstacles, Q and E to rotate the camera. I can rotate the camera? Oh, wow. That's cool. Okay. So we've got red here, which, oh, so there's going to be a red button. So there's a purple button. Oh, I see. It's like a three-dimensional maze. Okay. I think I probably should have put that together. But now I'm stuck because I don't see any corresponding button. Maybe corresponding just means the button. Oh, yellow. Okay, so it's on a yellow block. There's a yellow door. Got it. Okay. And here's a red block for a red door. So it closed that one, but it probably opened wherever the other one was. Over here somewhere. Green. This is a cool concept. Here's a purple button. I didn't see a purple door yet. Okay. Here's a green one. And I also didn't see a blue one. Was there a blue door? I never even saw it. We did it. Ta-da. Very good. Do we have Alan? We have Alan here. Hello.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Cool. Tell me about this.
So yeah, this was basically just my attempt at practicing programming some more.
This is
This
cool.
is based off of stuff that I learned in Game 4A, but expanded upon. Yeah, the actual like button system.
Mm-hmm.
I know it wasn't like totally made sense towards at the bottom because it was just hard to figure out. I guess like a puzzle system. I don't know.
But you're
if
saying
that
it's like a
was
tech demo more than a level design. Yeah,
like
that's
a proof
fine.
of concept kind of thing.
Yeah,
But yeah, I just wanted to make a playable prototype and
cool.
that's yeah.
And you did. And it works. Very good. I think one immediate feedback that I'm just thinking of immediately is when I get to a corner, I would kind of want it to transition for me rather than needing to tell it. Just because there's not really a possibility of me wanting something else. But if I step back, then you'd have to like, it would sort of be like, when you enter this corner square, did you do it from this side? If so, rotate this way. Or did you do it from this side? If so, rotate that way. I guess would be the logic behind the thing. And so it
Okay,
would
yeah.
just reduce the need for an additional control.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of makes sense. I'm thinking like, would it make sense to have a halfway visible position? It might make sense, but it would make it really weird to control if we were looking at like an angle or something, wouldn't it?
Hmm.
It's cool. It reminds me of Pez a little bit. You ever play Pez?
I know.
No, Pez is like old 3D, like half 3D, half 2D platformer in which, oh, Fez, I'm sorry, not Pez, Fez, in which you're traversing this world full of two-dimensional characters, but you can see 3D and nobody else can. It's really cute, and it's very difficult to 100%, even though you can beat it, because it's a maze like this, but then also there's sort of like portal-like dimension hopping in there. Very cool. Do you have any plans for expanding this or making it more elaborate, or was this just something that you wanted to test out and you're going to move on?
I'm gonna move on,
Okay.
but Isaac might want to expand upon this and add his own stuff
Mm-hmm.
to do something with it.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's up to him.
Cool. Looks good to me. I like it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Very good. Okay, moving on down. So salvos we did look at before, but I'll just bring it up one more time, just because. Salvo, did anything change about this since last week, or are we just looking at the same model? Looks good to me. Is he still here? Oh yeah, he's still here. Salvo? Anything? Same thing as last week. Okay. And do you have any plans on making like full textures for this, or is it just going to be colors? Is that like what your next step is going to be? I want to learn about Substance Painter. I'm trying to contact with the owner. Contact the owner of Substance. You don't have to do that to learn about Substance. They have tutorials right on their site. Substance Painter. Substance. Oh yes, it absolutely does have more tech than Photoshop for sure. But I mean, right over here, we've got their learning tab, and there's lots of videos that you can watch about various aspects of it. And also, that's a good one to just type directly into YouTube because there's a lot of tutorials on both Painter and Designer. I would say rather than doing it with your own model, probably find, like, for instance, here's a foundation one, understanding normal map tangents and shading. Here's a foundation Substance Painter model preparation. Just start following a few of these, maybe one per week or something, to get your feet solidly planted, and then you can worry about applying your own model and goals to it. Actually, these all say foundation, foundation, foundation. Maybe I'm like looking at a certain level right now. I don't see any like intermediate or advanced ones. Oh, here we are. Level. Really? All levels. Foundation. Okay. Yeah, Substance has tons of tools and lots of capabilities. Very powerful, but it's not that bad. Yeah, I would say follow along with some of these tutorials at the foundation level, and you should be getting good in no time. Like this is their standard test object, this kind of ball thing that you can try to make materials for. Or you could just do a cube. I mean, you can just do, you know, textures. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you need help finding these kind of videos, then I'm sure there's people in here who can help you in addition to me. I haven't personally learned Painter, I learned Designer. And so I had lots of different tutorials that I was following for that one, but I haven't jumped into Substance Painter just yet, so I don't quite know where to point you. Okay, but I'd recommend starting here. This is definitely where I would look, and then YouTube would be the second place. Okay, got it. Well, hopefully you're working on something in the meantime then, if you're waiting on a license. What's your current project then? Okay. All right. Keep going at it. Let us know when you need some feedback or progress to show us. Thank you. Let's look at Jamie's. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, I'm signing it as the wrong one, really? Because I have it open over here. All right, whatever. Swap. There we go. This is cool. Do we have Jamie here? I don't see him in the chat. Okay. So, I mean, it looks really cool. It's got a very fun kind of illustrative style to it. Lots of flair and design. I don't know what the purpose is necessarily, but don't necessarily need to know that in order to appreciate that it looks cool. Let's go take a look in the folders to see if there's anything other than that. So here is the first folder. Maybe it's just in there. Let's try that. Ah, it is. Okay, assuming that this is the same character for the same purpose, but this is like a special attack or a kind of demonstration of what she wants to do with particle effects or something. But I just don't know quite what to critique on it yet, except to say that there's some sort of weird kind of grid thing down there, as if it's like the transparency sheet of something, but it's also rotated, which I don't know how that would be possible. So either it's on purpose and I just don't get it, or it's an accident and I would just watch out for that. But I look forward to reading the write-up about this project to see what she's thinking about when she's attempting this so that I can give better feedback. What do you guys think just off the cuff?
I think it looks really exciting.
Yeah?
I really like it. I like the color choices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like it too. This just looks awesome.
It's definitely intriguing, right? Like, despite the fact that I don't know what to make of it, I want to know. Yeah, very good. It's nice. Yeah. Okay, very good. We're going to move on for now until I can read the write-up for that one. That looks like it for today as far as things that we have available. Unless I'm getting something in chat. It sure is. Okay, so in our lecture topics request, the only one I haven't addressed yet is how to get started in 3D sculpting, which I want to do, except I feel at the moment too rusty to attempt. I need to do some practice on my own, and I had a bunch of meetings I had to attend today. So I want to get to this one, but probably wouldn't be best if I just attempted it without really knowing what I was doing ahead of time. Just know that, similar to what we were talking about with Substance, you can just hop directly on like YouTube, for instance, and type in the software beginner, or something, and get a lot of great demonstrations. It can be hard to know which ones are good or not, so I would always recommend jumping to the end. If they don't show the end result first, you jump to the end and look at the end result and decide if you like that and would like to learn how to do that, then you can follow along with it. So for now, is there anything that you guys need me to explain or lecture on or talk to you about that is not just directly here?
Can you hear me okay, Saber?
I can hear you.
Okay, well, I have a question on something that I've been trying to do.
Yes.
And it's a pause menu slash it's like an inventory slash thing. This is kind of what I want to conceptualize.
Uh-huh.
I want it to pause the game with like delta time 0.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's frozen. But
yeah.
Within the menu itself, when I'm in play mode, I want an animation to be like moving a text or like this background to be like moving ever so slightly via an animation.
Sure.
However, because it's in delta time 0,
yeah.
nothing is happening. So I'm not quite like 100% sure what the solution to that is or how to look that up on YouTube.
So I've never really messed around with time, like the global time in Unity. I've used time before, like time elapsed or like time delta time to smooth things. But what you're talking about is turning the time scale to 0 to pause the game, essentially, right?
Yeah, that's what happens. Because I don't want the stuff that's happening to like the character to keep happening while it's in the main, but there still to be a time element where things can move. And I don't know if I'm completely screwed there, because I know that in games you can pause the game by going into your menu.
Yes.
So I don't want to do that.
You're not completely screwed. There's definitely a way to do that. Offhand, I don't quite know what it is, but did you see where I went first? I went directly to the Unity manual, because that's going to be a place where searching in this field is way better than just searching on Google, right? anything that you search within the manual is going to have a direct tie-in to how the internals of Unity work, period. And you're going to get a lot better answers just about the fundamentals of how the Unity engine works. But then I can always jump over to the scripting API and find what are the commands that I can use also. So I'm going to just type in time to see what I get in the scripting API. So we get references immediately, and here's delta time, real time, since, fixed, unscaled time, on and on and on. And so I can start looking through these commands to say, does something here give me a clue as to what I can use to solve this problem? Right?
For sure, yeah.
And I don't know, I have to read through it to see, but maybe there is. There could be, for instance, like a mask that says, apply an effect just to these things and not to these other things. And I go, oh, I can pause time just for this kind of object, not for every object, right?
I can do that too.
I think, so right here, time scale seems like maybe it will do that. So I just pop it open and see, is there something where I can set just for the time scale for one object or two or something? So this is the scale at which time passes. This can use for slow motion effects. When time scale is 1, time passes at real time. When time scale is 5.5, it passes twice as slow. But it doesn't mention applying it just to one object. Yeah, so it doesn't mention that. It doesn't look like that's a part of this function. So maybe we need to think about it differently. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, and I never ever go to like this. I never go to like Unity and look it up. I'm always like Googling stuff. So yeah, I'll definitely check this out the second I get home.
You definitely should do this first. So there's a hotkey that, like, when you're typing in Visual Studio, that you could just look things up directly to the Unity documentation I used to use. I'm not sure if it's gone, but I just forgot what it was. And so I just look things up this way. But both the scripting API and manual have links right next to each other for a reason, because one is the understanding of how it functions. The other is what can you do with it, every command. So I always go here first. Then if I don't understand, that's when the Googling will start. Like, okay, I've got this problem. Now I don't know how to solve it. Now I need to look up answers from other people. That kind of makes sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you can get really far this way.
I'm going to look into that, obviously, when I get home. And you were
Sure.
speaking of Visual Studio. I have a question about that real quick.
Okay.
It is really slowing my computer down to the point of, like, absolute freezing it sometimes.
Really?
When I have visuals, I don't have a good laptop, so I know you can write scripts in like Notepad.
Yeah.
But is there like another program to write scripts that might not be as into Visual Studio?
I'm surprised that Visual Studio is slowing down, because it's essentially just a text editor with hints. But yes, there's other programs like this one. This is Notepad++. And so it's just like Notepad, except you can tell it what language you're writing in, and it will give you code hints and help with your formatting. And it's free.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Notepad++ is probably the least frills and features kind of text editor or code editor that you can possibly get. As far as other ones beyond that, I don't know. I mean, MonoDevelop used to be what we used, but I think MonoDevelop's gone. I want to see if it is. MonoDevelop used to be what we would always code in. I guess MonoDevelop's still around. So I suppose you could use MonoDevelop. I don't know why they discontinued it, though. So kind of a liability there. Notepad++ is very, very simple, though. I mean, are you sure it's Visual Studio? Like, you do a Control-Delete, look at processes and check like what's taking up all the cycles, like this.
Okay, so usually the CPU is all red on Unity, which is obvious when it's hovering around like 49%.
Yeah.
When I do have Visual Studio open as well, when it has to do like its background application processes where it's like itself is bad. But when I run like really basic programs, it's really good. That's why I can do like Doom on it real nice.
Yeah.
And like small stuff. But,
okay.
Having like Unity, the script program open, and then maybe like the internet open at the same time will just like break.
See, I would blame the internet, especially if it's Chrome. I would always point the finger that way instead of at a different program. But if you're saying you take a look at the process and it's the one that's redlining, then okay, yeah. Pick a different editor. Try Notepad++. I know it's got like virtually no features, but that should be fine. You can genuinely just write a notepad, like just a text document, name it .cs, and then it becomes C#. Compile capable at least, but make sure that you're being very careful about how you write things if you do that. So.
Yeah, definitely. I do. I've edited already written scripts in Notepad, but haven't wrote a script in Notepad.
Oh, see, I just double-clicked one that I wrote. I have written a couple in Notepad, but it was only because actually I just pasted them into Notepad because I wanted to keep them in like a folder. I've got a bunch of random things in a folder here. Whoops, there goes everything. But like I was learning how to make Bezier curves and stuff like that, and so I just kept them outside of a program at all. And yeah, as long as you copy paste and the formatting's the same, it basically works. You just put .cs on the end. I don't recommend it though because you lose all of this capability of looking at this is a class, this is an enum, and then if we get down to like command somewhere, it's going to tell me here are the kind of arguments that this command can take. You miss all of that stuff, and that's a big help when you're trying to program.
It's nice that when you're in Visual Studio, like it'll move the text for you. Like if you're doing parentheses.
Exactly.
You're starting a new bracket, it's gonna automatically do that for you. But
yeah,
it's just slow, and I'm thinking for like efficiency, I'll try Notepad++. Thank you very much. That was the answer.
Yeah, and it should do the same thing. It has those same features, just it's going to have less of them. So you still tell it, I'm scripting in this language, and it will still tell you, this is how that formatting works, and move around the text to the correct formatting for you and help with auto-completion and whatnot. Okay? All right, good luck with that.
Thanks.
Wow, suddenly you sounded a lot clearer.
Yeah, because I just shut my car off because I'm about to go pick something up.
Okay. All right, man. Catch you later. All right, do we have any other questions about things that I can help explain or point you in the right direction? Everybody else good? I'm just going to go down the list in the call and just ask everybody one by one. Okay?
Actually, I have a question.
All right.
Salvo has a question for you.
Got it. Go for it.
Hold on, give me a second.
Okay.
Okay, so what would happen if I finish with this project I'm working on, like over the Easter weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and then I want to add more like textures to it?
Mm-hmm.
So if I do finish it on time, will I be penalized if it's not done on time? What would happen in that situation?
If you tell me that we're going to look at it and we come around to that week and I ask and it's just not there, then I'm going to think that there's a problem, right? I'm not necessarily going to penalize for that, but I'm going to think that there's a problem. If before that happens, you tell me I'm not quite done, I want to move it back a week, that's completely fine. So just do one of those two. Just do that second thing. If you come up to the week and it's not going to be done, try to tell me before a class meeting, especially if it was like going to be on a Friday before then, and just move it back a week. If you finish it early and then want to add more things to it, just don't turn it in yet. Add more things. Does that make sense to you?
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't necessarily want it to be perfect. I don't think it'll ever be perfect in my eyes, but I just wanted to make sure that I'm working on it and to see if you accept it the way it is, or if I have to keep adding things. If I do finish early, I just wasn't sure when to turn it in.
This isn't about what I think is done. It's about what you think is done. So in this sense, I'm just trying to coach you and keep you on track and keep you accountable. But it's your level of quality and your schedule. And it's you keeping yourself accountable to that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Cool. All right. Let me go down the list on the call. We already talked to Alan, but Alan, do you have anything else to add?
Nothing really to add. No, just that I'm probably gonna move on to another project after this.
Very good. Okay. Gary, any problems, questions, concerns? Not right now. Gotcha. Garrett, same question.
Nope, not right now.
All right. Juan. Juan's typing it out. Having some problems in Substance. Designer or Painter? Painter. Crap. Okay. So with Painter, I can't really help you, but can you describe the problem really quick? Is it just how to do things? Or is it actually an error? Having distortions in the mesh. Okay. Distortions in the texture on the surface of the mesh or in the actual mesh? Like the thing you modeled. Wow. Okay. I have a guess then immediately, which is history. That when you had the object in Maya, you didn't freeze all the transforms and delete all the history, and you have leaf level transforms left over, and that could cause that problem, because that's pretty typical. There's one other option, which is that in the process of making a material, you're using like height map displacement, which would actually move vertices around rather than giving the appearance of depth. And there's a possibility that that creates a distortion. But I think the first guess is more likely. Does that sound like the likely culprit? Something to check out anyway. Weird lines on random places. Lines that are not like edges or seams that are not fused. This is a weird problem. Okay. It sounds like this is going beyond what I could predict not having used Painter. I could just type that in though to Google and just cross my fingers. Substance Painter. And then we're going to type in like weird lines. Weird lines. Strange lines of some mesh parts. Weird lines going through model. Is it like this? Like stripes? Okay. Well, I'm going to copy paste this in a chat for you. See if they've got an answer in there. Let's see what this other one's like. This other one, the picture they provide doesn't really show an error. Well, they say it does. Oh, like this. Okay, can you see that? It's very small, actually. There's kind of these striation lines on certain parts. Oh, and this is Sketchfab. They're saying that once they render it, no? Yeah, they're saying that you're asking in the wrong spot for this one. These lines get created if there's not enough geometry. Ah, I think that's what the last one was saying too. Bakes correctly. So this one's saying that they're missing parts of their UV. So two possible solutions right away without really knowing the answer is there's not enough subdivisions to properly bake information, which sometimes has to be pretty high. You usually want a low and a high version of your object to do that. And then the other one is maybe the UVs are slightly messed up so that when baking happens, it's missing information. I don't know which one's true because I've never used the program, but there you go. There's my amateur Sherlock Holmes sleuthing attempt. Hopefully that helps you. Okay. Searching for videos in order to fix the problem, and it seemed to fix the problems I faced. Okay, great. All right. We spoke to Matt already, so I'm going to skip to Miguel. Miguel, anything to add or subtract or throw into the mix?
Just an opinion, I guess.
Sure.
I was thinking maybe I'll start doing like segments for my next like sculpt. So maybe I'll just do like a bust and try to like really focus on nailing that.
Sure.
And then eventually build up a model over the next couple projects.
Yeah, I will say that a human face or a head is a classic one, but it's also a really difficult one because you've got the skeletal structure in addition to all the soft and semi-hard parts. Things like a foot are really forgiving because feet are ugly no matter what you do, even if you do it right. Hands are a little bit complex, but they're like a step above feet. Arms and legs are probably the easiest because they're not so specific that a person is immediately going to call them out as being wrong, and they're mostly tube forms when you start out. So a torso, an arm, a leg, those are easy. A bust is pretty good. A head is always going to be difficult. You could also do organic things that are not human. So you could do like a carved wooden figure, or you could do a tree stump or a piece of fruit. That stuff gives you the challenge of organic with the freedom that it's not going to be so picky because we're not as used to looking at that sort of thing.
Okay.
Or even like a carved fresco or sculpture or something like, imagine like a panel that's been carved by hand. That's actually a pretty good sculpting project and practice. Even though it's nothing to do with a human, it gets you more practice with the tools.
Okay, yeah, I might mess around with something like that then.
Okay, so think about it. You know, anything along those lines is probably going to be fine, but yeah.
All right, thank you.
No problem. All right. Nathan, we'll look at your thing right now, I think. Let me go ahead and stop the recording because that's it for our meeting. Any last words, anybody? Makes it sound like I'm going to execute you. All right. All right, guys. Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and stop.